What up, YouTube? Hope y'all been in the gym. Son of Jekt, Tidus, ace of the whatever team it's in Final Fantasy X is called, is here. He is super hyped, and I'm here to deflate that hype tremendously, or at least attempt to. Unless you're Blind Eye, then FF10 keeps winning. Man, that 2-year drought of FF10 being bad, they're certainly making up with for Tidus, because Tidus is broken. But I think a lot of the people who are fiending over Tidus probably don't need him as bad. So we'll be talking about that. Anyways, in this video, before you pull on the Tidus FR banners, I'm going to review the units and use that information to guide my suggestions as soon as I mute my phone. I want to hear your thoughts though, so leave a comment with your plans for the upcoming content. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Also, you can come through for streams, you don't want to miss those, and events, although I haven't done it in a bit. I plan to get back on that eventually. And I have my bi-weekly stream Ranting Hour where I talk about more in-between stuff. You can check that playlist out on your own. Let's get into the main meat of the video. Pause. One take. Tidus is a ranged damage dealer, if you're not familiar with this kit. He has tons of instant and free turns. He has a bunch of turn control in that regard. He is a debuffer. He drops attack, defense down, and speed debuffs, and his abilities, no, his modifiers, yeah, his brave and HP damage scales based on how many debuffs are active on the enemy. So you want to have as many active as possible. He also re-breaks. He's got a ton of HP attacks. His upcoming rework, all his skills and his follow-up get double the amount of HP attacks. Let me clarify. Skill 1 and skill 2 have 2 HP attacks now, and his follow-up shot has 2. And if you have his BT effect up, that's an extra 2 or 3. So he actually has very, very competitive damage. At minimum, he's doing 6 HP attacks, provided his BT effect is up. And because Force Time lends itself to tons of HP attacks, Tidus has just amazing, amazing results. But let's keep going into the FR condition, because that's really the meat of Tidus. Well, I gotta stop saying meat. Yikes. Anyways, if you press Tidus's FR, it's an instant turn. Sayador throws the ball and he kicks it. You get 20% bonus damage when attacking a debuff target. It's on turn only, so no off turns there. And you get the 30% bonus if it is an instant turn rate ability. So Tidus's quick hit, Tidus's LD abilities, those are only instant turn rate abilities. So if you press those while his force time is up, it's pretty good. Ideally, you're spamming Tidus's instant moves in his burst phase. This is a burst phase oriented FR. As for team synergies to function with Tidus, you don't want anyone taking advantage of Tidus's FR. It's for him to take advantage of. So you want to lean more into the off-turn or the supplemental units such as Cisne, Kane, Young, Laguna's Trap, any just general auras to make Tidus do more damage, because Tidus is driving all that damage. You want to have as much behind him as possible to really get the most out of his force time, to maximize the amount of HP attacks, and maybe have a launch call like a Sid Reigns call or a selfie debuff active so you can get a +2 on that as well. Pretty straightforward. Press his FR and then go into his BT phase while his BT effect is up. It's not rocket science. So overall evaluation, I got on this a bit earlier, but I'll go over it again. Turn control. You know when Tidus is going. You know when he's going to re-break after taking a certain amount of turns. He's got strong debuff, 50% on the attack and defense down. This matters. And the speed down is decent as well. Re-breaks, which is ultimately turn control. Ton of HP attacks, like I said, at minimum, if my math is right, and his BT effect is up, which that's what really matters when you're driving Tidus's damage. He's doing at minimum 6 HP attacks, which is very competitive, especially with all the turn control that he has. And he has a crazy BT phase on top of a crazy BT finisher that also has a billion HP attacks. That ends up really being a nuke if you time it right for the final turn of the force time. Weaknesses wise though, he has a very selfish FR, so if you're not, if you get Tidus's FR, Tidus is pressing it, otherwise, and Tidus is driving that damage, so otherwise, no one's really taking advantage of it. That'd be a waste. I mean, you could Giga brand it and then, like, what, I don't know, run Machina attacking no, that wouldn't work because this stuff is an instant turn. Yeah, just run Tidus. Just run Tidus. BT reliant, I mean, that's not really a con, but I'm stretching here. Tidus is broken. If his BT effect though isn't up, it's a huge damage loss, so you really got to time things, and he's got a really linear playstyle ultimately. It's you rush the enemies down and you drive a bunch of off-turn damage, and that's really it for Tidus. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a linear character, but if you're running Tidus in the party, he is going to be your primary DPS, and he is going to rush the bosses down. That's just how it is. Now let's go on to the star of the banner, Barret. He is a range support, getting a rework finally. His damage is being brought up to par. His EX follow-up is getting 3 more HP attacks on it for a minimum of 4 HP attacks on all of his buttons that he's pressing. He is damage oriented and he provides some nice physical attack up to the party. And his, like I said, his buff provides crit damage up to the party. Strength. He's got a really big damage LD. I believe in total he's got like 12 HP attacks on his LD, provided you're adding the EX follow up on there, which is great damage for someone that buffs like 110 attack up, physical attack up to the party. That's good damage, right? Guaranteed crits can help when the bosses are unbreakable for more damage. He's got decent damage now. I mean, his EX and LD at minimum, his skill 1 and 2 are doing like what 6 HP attacks, I think. So that's actually all right damage for someone providing buffs. Weaknesses wise though, Barret is painfully generic. Just support, does damage, and res range. That's the way specific FRs are landing, unless you're running them with something generic, it's kind of hard to justify them in the party when BT auras exist. Yeah, it's a real hard sell. No aura buff, that's not clear, is it? His auras did not get increased, and he has to build up. I guess I should have included that too. He still starts at 1 whatever stack. His avalanche stacks aren't filled at the start of the battle, and his LD stacks aren't filled. So he's got a build up. Why does Barret still have a build up in current year? I don't know. Lastly, his buffs tend to, if you're as good of a player as I am at the game, Barret's buffs tend to fall off because he's contributing so much. So if you know, you know. I'm on something else this video. Queen is a melee support. She provides party last stand, damage mitigation to the party so you do not take as much damage. Party last stand meaning that if the party has over 50% health and they take lethal damage, they will live on 1%. Freya and Porum have this as well. She provides HP regen, brave regen, strong burst heals too, and when she goes berserk after using her EX for 3 turns, she is completely immortal, same as Galuf and Orin and Zac after using his BT. So that can be potentially handy. Strengths wise, Queen has special brave and HP attacks to potentially fulfill those conditions. Looking to use Sherlotta, Yuna, Aerith down the line. She's got party survivability. She will keep you alive if you're taking anything super lethal and it's just 1 HP attack. Looking at Desh's IW actually, she could help you eat those attacks. And the burst regen and heal is very handy to have. Weaknesses though, at this point she's got low damage. Her good buttons are her special HP plus. Actually, that is her good button, and that's it. And she high turn rates through that, so you don't want her taking up the force time. It's kind of the same problem Ignis ends up having, where you don't really want them acting, but they have okay buttons, and she's just generally outdated. So I mean, there's not really much of a selling point for her. She'll get an update eventually, but now is not her time. So overall, before you pull on this banner, and again, this is aimed at people unable to decide, it's a more objective take. If you love a character to death, I don't care, do what you want. If you're broke, use community, see how you can optimize your runs and resources without spending. And use forecast. If you're kind of broke right now, you need to look ahead to see what might be a better option down the line just to maximize your resources. Now let's get into the, I don't want to call this a controversial take. I think it's a more, I have gone through this era take and want to provide some knowledge. Well, first off, getting the elephant in the room out of the way, Barret and Queen are absolute dog water. You have no need for them in the slightest, so scratch them off of that. Okay, going off my previous advice of people wanting cam in the party versus wanting a cam friend, for most cases, I think if you don't already have Cam's FR, don't bother with his BT. If you're going, so focusing more on Tidus. If you're gonna run Tidus, you need his BT. So you want to focus on that. If your only interest is in running Tidus to drive cam nukes, then you don't need his FR to do that. His FR is just a damage button within his burst phase, and you can honestly live without that. Let's get that out of the way. Personally, having run the Tidus cam thing a couple times, quite a few times, I think for at least a month and a half, I only press Tidus's FR within his burst phase, and I only use Tidus's FR to like drive the force gauge up during tier 10. Now, it's valid to pull for tier 10, For Tidus to do it, I wouldn't be mad at that because you can't cam that as easily because it's the paralyzed immunity, you have to walk it through it, RNG resets, etc. So that's fine, but really evaluate if you'd ever use Tidus's FR as a damage button because it's really not, I don't think it's worth the resources if you just need it as that. If you're only aiming to run cam nukes, I would suggest actually, if you're looking at it from that linear perspective, I think Machina is the much better investment for that strategy for a multitude of reasons. One, better BT effect. He's got 30% HP cap up at 3 stacks. What else? And Machina can be played as an off-turn unit as well, and that extends his shelf life and lets him fit into multiple team comps like crazy. The only situation in which I'd say probably pulling for Tidus if you're only interested in nukes is actually never. I just don't think it. But if you want to run Tidus and presses FR, then that's cool too. But just know what you're getting into. Overall, I wouldn't recommend people go for this banner. Again, having invested in Tidus and Machina, and I'm trying to get people off that simple track of running as a cam nuker. The game is much more fun when you do different things, and if you railroad yourself on this one play style, I think it would be overall detrimental. Can I show Machina even harder? He's really fun and really helpful. If you look at my, this is turning into a Machina video. Let me not do that. So overall, my recommendation for this banner is if you don't have Tidus's BT and FR, you're gonna need all of that. If you want, this is so hard to talk about. If you want Tidus as a nuker, that's fine. And he can be your carry through tier 10, and that's fine too. But just know what you're getting into. I guess it's too nuanced to really give advice on that. But if you're not as concerned about ever pressing Tidus's FR, I'd reconsider going back for Machina and maybe even getting Sherlotta, who's an awesome unit as well. So if Sherlotta's not on your radar at all, she should be. But if she's really not on your radar and you think you want to put your resources elsewhere, then I guess grabbing Tidus would be the right move. But again, just evaluate what you're going to be using Tidus for and whether you're actually going to be pressing his FR outside of a damage button inside of his burst phase. All right, I rambled. I am exhausted. Let me know what you guys think, and if that was clear, I'll probably have to clarify in the comments. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Think things through, look at the future, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, bye.